Hello and good morning. Joe Justice here, coming to you live on Wednesday, June 28th, 2023. We are halfway through the week, if you can believe it already. And this weekend we are having, of course, the regatta celebration going on in Charleston. Make sure you check out what's going on from the city. Going to be some really cool events, but what I want to draw your attention to is going to be right here at the Charleston Gazette parking garage. It's the Rooftop Regatta Rendezvous, and that's going to be sponsored along with Advantage Technology and Centurion Wealth Management. We are going to be working together to hold a really cool event with hair supplies. We're going to be playing some music. We're going to have food from the olive tree, and we're going to have lots of fun. I've got a link to the event in the comments. Go ahead and click on that, and if you're interested, shoot me a message, and I bet I can get you some promo codes, maybe save you a little bit of money on the event. Would love to see you there. It's going to be a lot of fun. But with me today, as we go into Wednesday, Hump Day, is I got a cool guest that really exemplifies the whole idea behind the Kanawha Valley Hustler. Although he's not technically in Kanawha Valley, he's definitely a hustler. He was born and raised in the Kanawha Valley. He's here in West Virginia, and he kind of embodies what I've been talking about here lately, and what I've kind of narrowed down to the mission of Kanawha Valley Hustlers podcast, and that's the idea of bringing an entrepreneurial spirit to the Kanawha Valley and beyond to kind of break us out of this kind of company mentality, thinking more outside the box and thinking about things bigger than just getting a corporate job, just getting a day-to-day job, talking about side hustles, other hustles, main hustles, whatever it is. That's what I want to talk about, and I want to foster that kind of entrepreneurial environment. So with that in mind, I want to bring up my buddy, Cooper Simmerman. Cooper, how you doing today, bud?
What's up, man? I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. And I wanted to bring you up specifically because just a couple weeks ago, you held the Almost Heaven Classic event up at Canaan Valley Resort. And you got some pretty big hitters at that event. I want to tell everybody that wasn't there, which I think most of West Virginia was there. It was a huge event. I think over 200 people were actually live in attendance. And you had some really heavy hitters on your board. You did like a panel discussion on West Virginia and the state of West Virginia. You had Brad Smith, Sarah Biller, and Brandon. What was Brandon's last name again?
Dennison.
Yep. Dennison, and they were all there along with CJ and you guys talked about the environment of West Virginia, what's going on with West Virginia, what's excited with West Virginia. Can you just kind of tell me, kind of sum it all up? What did you guys exchange? What was that like? What's going on? What's the state of West Virginia as we're moving forward into 2023 and beyond?
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, excited to be here on Kanawha Valley Hustlers. I've been tuning into these, so it's cool to be on here. But yeah, we're super happy with how the Almost Heaven Classic went. Mountaineer Media, my company with CJ Harvey, we threw this annual gathering. We've been planning it for a year. We were very fortunate to have a full crowd up there in Canaan Valley. Like you said, over 200 folks come out. But generally, our goal was that we wanted to provide a fun weekend in Almost Heaven. You see other regions and industries and even countries have these summits and almost gathering of the minds kind of feel. And we felt like we could do that for West Virginia. We felt like our online audience are people that are optimistic people, that they're doers, they're action takers, they're builders, they're innovators, they're entrepreneurs. That's our audience, and that's who we kind of appeal to online. We wanted to do the physical version of that. And we think it went great. The Friday night, like you said, was a panel discussion with those three incredible leaders. And, we sat on stage, we live recorded it in front of the audience. And the message was that let's be careful of not always talking about the future as if it's a dream world or something far away, that the things that we want to build West Virginia, like they're already happening, and folks are making those investments with their time, energy, and money into the state. And we kind of honored those three and learned lessons from them, and then kind of challenged the crowd to to collaborate, to build partnerships, to lead, to go. And that's kind of the West Virginia ethos. And we put that into a room and it had a blast doing it. And then the next day was the golf tournament, because we just wanted to show off the beautiful, picturesque landscape of West Virginia. We had 29 teams compete in the golf tournament on the very next day and compete for the West Virginia jacket. So overall, that weekend is truly the physical manifestation of all the work that we do online. And we're super pleased on how it went. And we kind of hope that now, with that momentum and experience in our back pocket, that we can do this every single year in a different region throughout West Virginia.
Now, real quick, for anybody who wasn't there, tell us a little bit about that jacket. That wasn't just a regular old jacket you got off the rack at Macy's, right?
It certainly was not. It was a custom-made jacket by Tony the Tailor. If you're from Charleston and maybe even all of West Virginia, you probably know Tony the Tailor, legendary master tailor in Charleston, family-owned business. He custom-made actually 4 jackets for each member of the winning team. And it had our event tournament logo, which was made by Loving Dub V, which is one of the best retailers in West Virginia, in my opinion, with custom West Virginia merchandise. They made us that custom logo, and then Tony the Tailor inlaid it inside the jacket, and we had it on display up there. And then each of the winning team, Team Farrell, they came up from Charleston, they won at 14 under. Each one of them gets to go into Tony the Tailor in downtown Charleston and get their jacket made. And that's a little memento that they're going to have for the rest of their life. And hopefully they rock it with pride.
That is killer. And I saw the jacket in person. It was very good. Now, unfortunately, I was there for the networking event and for the panel discussion, but I wasn't able to make the golf game. Tell me a little bit about how the golf tournament itself went.
It went well. We had 29 teams to compete, 4-man team, traditional scramble. So you can have some folks that are really good at golf, and you can have some people there that are just for a good time. And we certainly had a mix of both. But they competed. They won all kinds of West Virginia prizes like mountain steer beef for the closest to the pin. We had a custom Scotty Cameron putter. So on the practice green, as folks come off number 9 and go on to number 10, there was a putting contest, and each person got an attempt at it. And eventually we had a guy, Dave Alvarez, who won that. So it was a really cool putter that had Almost Heaven stamped on the back of it. It really was just a celebration of, again, we're golf nuts. I'm addicted to golf. So there's certainly that element of it. I like throwing golf tournaments, but it really was, again, the core principles of Mountaineer Media and the Almost Heaven Classic is to bring people together, have premium experiences and connection in the state. And we're really appreciative of Canaan. It's a very playable course. It's wide open, but it's still challenging. And they put on a great show for us. They had the course in wonderful condition. And we're super stoked to do that jacket. And hopefully now, maybe 5-10 years from now, we'll have half a dozen or a couple dozen people wearing these like jackets around it, like the event in like 5 years, and we'll have like a little kind of members only little club of our own. So yeah, it was a blast.
That is so cool. And tell me a little bit about, now I was there for the event and for the little panel discussion, which was really great. I think you guys covered some really great topics. I think tell me what part of this was true. Did you guys ask ChatGPT for the questions for the panel? Was that true?
That's ironically enough the question because the question was posed to Brad Smith, and I think I even posed a question about the role of artificial intelligence in West Virginia in technology and that sort of thing. And he, of course, had a wonderful answer and agreed with a former West Virginian, Wes Bush, the chairman of Northrop Grumman, that West Virginians are well positioned for a technology-driven world because ultimately you need individuals of character, principle, values, and these sort of things to lead these systems in this world. And he kind of spit back a wonderful reply when I kind of asked him about that sentiment. And ironically, I did use ChatGPT to help me frame in that question when I asked him. So it was a fun moment. So yeah, that's definitely true.
Well, I think everybody's using ChatGPT these days. I was talking to somebody just earlier this morning that had done he was involved with another company that had been submitting some quotes to some people, and he noticed that on one of the quotes it said this was written by ChatGPT at the bottom of it. So whoever had submitted it didn't actually go through and edit it and make sure that it didn't say any of that kind of stuff. So people like West Virginians aren't going to make those types of mistakes, right?
I don't think so, but for me, I'm like notoriously bad at spelling and grammar. I'm pretty comfortable talking on a podcast, but for me, spelling and grammar, it just stumps me. And I like in 4th grade, the word pretzel knocked me me out of the spelling bee. So like for me, I use it when I do writing and whatnot to enhance what I'm trying to say about, West Virginia and all the other topics I'll speak on. But yeah, you got to clean up. You can't copy and paste fully. You got to be careful on that.
Cannot copy and paste. That's the lesson to anybody watching this. If there's one takeaway, do not copy and paste from Chat GPT. Do a little bit of a proofread first, right?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about a little bit more, and we're bumping up against our time here, but I do want to hear a little bit more about how you actually now, and I want you to brag a little bit. I don't want you to give me a humble answer. How did you actually, you and your team, I know you've got a board of live events and everything. How did you guys pull together this event where you get people all over the state? You had sponsors, you had, you had this great venue, you had a golf tournament, you had this speaking event the night before, and networking and s'mores and fire pits. You did all of this kind of stuff, and it looks from the outside like it was your first rodeo. And I mean, you knocked it out of the ballpark to mix up my metaphors here. But tell me, how'd you pull it off?
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, I mean, thanks for the compliments. We pulled it off by planning for a year. We put this thing way off in advance because we wanted to make sure we were meticulous about all the details. And I do owe credit to our live events board. I do owe credit to our title sponsorship, the small businesses that financially empowered us and allowed us to pull it off. But just small parts at a time. Like we wanted to capture like what's the mood, what's the feeling, what's the environment, the aura that we want to create around each little segment. When you walk in, your name tag, you feel prideful that you have that, the banner, the logo, like you said, around the fire pit. We know West Virginians like to have a drink or two around a fire pit. And then at the tournament, having a pepperoni roll stuffed in the cart already ready for the people. Like we truly tried to think of every detail that if you were going to a summit in West Virginia and the mountains of Tucker County, we wanted to really lean into that ethos. And we were fortunate and happy with how it went. But it was because of all the support of our sponsors and our team. And we owe a lot of credit to everybody, the West Virginia kind of mantra of coming together and working towards something.
Awesome. Well, Cooper, I want to thank you very much for spending a little bit of time with me here today. And is there any last things you want to tell my audience about? I know you can go to mountaineermedia.org to learn more about the podcast and upcoming events and things like that. Is there anything else you want to plug?
It's always my challenge is to be the change that you want to see. We founded Mountaineer Media because we wanted to have conversations. We thought there was a space for nuanced, pragmatic conversation. So we said, why not us build it? So my challenge is that we appreciate the follows, the listens, the engagement of us. But my challenge is to go out and do whatever your version of that impact and change in West Virginia that you want to see. The challenge is to go out and do it yourself, because you start getting a little bit of momentum and you realize, hey, I can do this. So that's the little challenge to the audience here, is go after it.
Absolutely. Hang on for just a second. I'll be right back and going to say goodbye to everybody, okay?
Awesome.
Thank you so much for watching here today. I hope that you picked up something from that. It was a really great event, and I thought it was just a blast to be part of it. I was really excited when the folks at Mountaineer Media, CJ and Cooper and all of them announced it over a year ago. I remember when they announced it, and I was really excited about it. So I'm just thrilled the whole thing came off as well as it did. Hope you had a chance to be there. If you were there and you see this podcast, drop us a comment. Let us know what you thought of the event. We want to hear from you. And speaking of getting together and being together, don't forget the regattas this weekend, and coming up next week on Tuesday, July 4th, we're going to have the Rooftop Regatta Rendezvous right here at the Charleston Gazette-Mail building on the parking garage. You do have to get tickets, though, so be sure to sign up. We're going to have food. We're going to have live music. We're going to have all kinds of stuff starting at 6 o'clock, and then you can come back and watch the fireworks right there from the rooftop. It's the perfect vantage point. There is a link right there in the comments. You can click on that and send me a message, send me a private message, and I can probably get you some promo codes to get a little money off of that, save a couple bucks on that too. So thank you so much for watching again today. Have a wonderful Thursday, and I'll talk to you again on Friday. Bye-bye for now.